Broken by grief, CEO Alexander Reed buried himself in work after losing his wife. But when he meets 5-year-old Lily in the children's hospital, her innocent words shake his world. Emma needs you to be broken together, not broken apart. Sometimes the wisest lessons come from the smallest hearts. Before watching full video, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more videos. The steady rhythm of expensive Italian leather shoes echoed through the pristine corridors of St. Mary's Children's Hospital. Alexander Reed, 42, CEO of Reed Enterprises, moved through the space like a man possessed, his tailored navy suit and perfectly styled silver-streaked dark hair a stark contrast to the soft pastels of the pediatric wing. "Mr. Reed, please, you need to slow down," his assistant Melissa called from behind him, her arms full of gift bags and expensive toys. "The PR team is still setting up the cameras in the main playroom." Alexander didn't slow his pace. "I'm not here for a photo op," he said, his voice clipped. "Not today." Today marked exactly 1 year since the accident that had taken his wife Sarah and left his daughter Emma in a coma for 3 terrifying weeks. 1 year since his perfect life had shattered, leaving him a broken single father struggling to balance running a Fortune 500 company and raising a traumatized 7-year-old daughter. This hospital visit had been scheduled months ago, a charity event his PR team insisted would help soften his image after a particularly ruthless corporate takeover. Alexander had built his reputation on being a brilliant but merciless businessman, the kind who could cut 1,000 jobs over breakfast without losing his appetite. But that was before the rainy night that had changed everything. "The children are expecting you in the playroom," Melissa reminded him gently. "I just need 5 minutes," Alexander replied, veering down a hallway marked Oncology Ward. "There's someone I need to see first." Melissa's protests faded behind him as he approached the nurse's station. The head nurse, a formidable woman named Beverly who had been kind to his family during Emma's stay, looked up with surprise. "Mr. Reed? We weren't expecting you today." "I know," Alexander said, loosening his tie slightly. "I was hoping to see Lily Parker. I understand she's still here." Beverly's expression softened. "Yes, she is. Room 304. But Mr. Reed—" "I know about her condition," he interrupted. "Emma told me. They've been video chatting." During the darkest days after the accident, Emma had formed an unlikely friendship with Lily Parker, a 5-year-old leukemia patient with an irrepressible spirit. Even as Alexander's daughter withdrew from him and her therapists, she maintained this connection. Alexander had never met the child in person, but he'd heard her bright voice through Emma's tablet, seen the way his daughter's eyes lit up during their conversations. He knocked softly on the door to room 304. A thin voice called, "Come in." The room was like many others in the pediatric wing, but Lily had transformed her space with drawings taped to every available surface. A small Christmas tree sat on the windowsill, though December was still weeks away. "I like to get an early start," said the tiny figure in the bed, following his gaze to the tree. "You never know when Christmas might need to come early." Alexander froze in the doorway. Photographs and video calls hadn't prepared him for the reality of Lily Parker. Tiny and frail, with a colorful knit cap covering what he assumed was hair loss from chemotherapy, she seemed impossibly small against the white hospital linens. But her eyes, large, bright blue and startlingly wise, fixed on him with immediate recognition. "You're Emma's daddy," she said with absolute certainty. "The businessman. She shows me pictures." Alexander approached slowly as if drawn by gravity. "And you're Lily. Emma talks about you all the time." Lily beamed, revealing a missing front tooth. "Where is Emma? Did she come too?" "Not today," Alexander said, settling carefully into the visitor's chair beside the bed. "She's at school. But she made me promise to give you this." He reached into his suit jacket and pulled out a small, carefully wrapped package. Emma had spent hours selecting the gift, a friendship bracelet she had made herself, with beads in all of Lily's favorite colors. With careful, deliberate movements that betrayed the weakness in her small hands, Lily unwrapped the gift. Her face lit up at the sight of the bracelet. "It's beautiful. Will you help me put it on?" As Alexander fastened the tiny clasp around her thin wrist, Lily studied him with those unervingly perceptive eyes. "Emma says you work too much," she said matter-of-factly, "and that you're sad all the time." Alexander nearly flinched. Out of the mouths of babes. "Being a grown-up is complicated sometimes," he said carefully. Lily nodded sagely. "My mom says the same thing. She cries in the bathroom when she thinks I'm sleeping." Alexander felt a lump forming in his throat. It's hard for parents when their children are sick. It's hard for children when their parents are sick too, Lily replied. But not with body sickness. With heart sickness. Alexander stared at her. What do you mean? Lily fidgeted with her new bracelet. My doctor says I have cancer in my blood. But after Daddy left, Mommy got a different kind of sickness. She smiles but her eyes don't light up anymore. The child looked directly at Alexander. Emma says you have the same sickness. Since her mommy went to heaven. The simplicity of the observation struck Alexander like a physical blow. For a year, he had maintained a careful facade for his daughter, for his company, for the world. He'd continued to function, to sign deals, to make lunches and attend parent-teacher conferences. But the child was right, his eyes had stopped lighting up. He had stopped truly living the day Sarah died. Your eyes look like my mommy's, Lily continued, unaware of the emotional earthquake she was triggering. Tired all the time. Emma says you don't laugh anymore, not real laughs. Alexander struggled to maintain his composure. Emma notices a lot. Children always notice, Lily said with the wisdom of the very young or very old. Grown-ups think we don't, but we do. A nurse entered with a tray of medication, momentarily saving Alexander from having to respond. As the nurse efficiently checked Lily's vitals and administered her medication, Alexander found himself studying the child's room more carefully. Among the drawings he noticed a recurring theme, a bright yellow sun with a smiling face. Did you make all these pictures? He asked when the nurse left. Lily nodded proudly. I make a sun picture every day, even on the really bad days when the medicine makes me throw up. My mommy puts them up so I can always see the sun even when the curtains are closed. That's very wise, Alexander said, genuinely impressed. It's what my daddy used to say before he left. Always look for the sun, Lily pad, even on cloudy days. Her small fingers traced the outline of a particularly vibrant sun drawing. I think he forgot to look for the sun himself. The words pierced Alexander to his core. Wasn't that exactly what he had done? Forgotten to look for the light still present in his life, in Emma? Mr. Reed? Melissa appeared in the doorway looking apologetic. The children are gathered in the playroom. The press is waiting. Alexander nodded distractedly. I'll be right there. As he stood to leave, Lily suddenly reached for his hand. Her small fingers felt like bird bones against his palm. Wait, she said. I have something for you too. She pointed to a drawer in her bedside table. And there. The blue folder. Curious, Alexander opened the drawer and found a blue plastic folder filled with drawings. Lily motioned for him to open it. Inside was a crayon portrait of what was unmistakably his daughter Emma, standing beside a stick figure with spiky gray-streaked hair that could only be Alexander. Between them, holding both their hands, was a small figure that he assumed was Lily herself. Above them all shone a huge yellow sun with a beaming smile. Emma told me her mommy is the brightest star in heaven now, Lily explained, her voice suddenly soft and serious. But she said sometimes you forget to look up at the stars. And you forget that you can still be a sun for each other. Something cracked inside Alexander's chest, a fissure in the wall he had carefully constructed around his grief. Emma drew the outline, Lily continued, but I colored it. She said you need it for your office to remind you. Remind me of what? Alexander managed to ask, his voice thick. Lily tilted her head as if the answer was the most obvious thing in the world. That broken things can still shine, Mr. Reed. Like my family after Daddy left. Like your family after Emma's mommy became a star. The simplicity and profound truth of her statement broke through Alexander's last defenses. Tears filled his eyes for the first time in public since Sarah's funeral. Emma says you only cry when you think she's sleeping, Lily observed quietly. Just like my mommy. Alexander couldn't speak. This child, this tiny, sick, wise child, had just articulated what a year of expensive therapy sessions had failed to help him understand. The doctors say I might get to go home for Christmas, Lily continued, apparently unaware of the emotional devastation she had just wreaked. Emma promised to help me build a snowman if I do. She says you make the best snowman because you're so tall. Alexander nodded, not trusting his voice. He carefully placed the drawing back in the folder and tucked it under his arm. I should go, he managed finally. There are other children waiting. Tell Emma I love my bracelet, Lily said. And Mr. Reed? Remember to look for the sun. It's always there, even behind the clouds. As Alexander walked toward the door, Lily called out one more thing, words that would change the course of his life. Emma needs you to be broken together, not broken apart. He stopped in his tracks, turned back slowly. What did you say? That's what my doctor told my mommy when she was crying one day, Lily explained. That we needed to be broken together, not broken apart. It helped her. Maybe it will help you too. The charity event proceeded as planned. Alexander Reed distributed gifts, read stories, and even managed genuine smiles for the photographers. But his mind remained in room 304, with a wise little girl and her son drawings. When he picked Emma up from school that afternoon, instead of sending his driver as usual, his daughter's surprise was evident. "Daddy? Where's Thomas? Is everything okay?" Alexander knelt down to her level, something he hadn't done in months. "Everything's fine, sweetheart. I just wanted to see you. I visited your friend Lily today." Emma's eyes widened. "You did? Did she like my bracelet?" "She loved it. And she gave me a drawing, the one you both worked on." Emma looked down, suddenly shy. "Are you mad?" "Mad? Why would I be mad?" "Because we drew Mom as a star. I know you don't like talking about Mom." The truth of that statement hit Alexander like a physical blow. Had he really become so closed off that his own daughter was afraid to mention her mother? "I'm not mad, Emma. In fact, I was thinking." He took a deep breath. "Maybe we could get ice cream and talk about Mom? I'd love to hear your favorite memories of her." Emma's face lit up with such hope that Alexander felt physical pain at the realization of how long it had been since he'd seen that expression. "Really? You want to talk about Mom?" "I really do," he said, and meant it. "And maybe afterward we could go to the art store and get some supplies. Lily showed me her son drawings. I thought maybe we could start our own tradition." 2 weeks later, Alexander Reed was back at St. Mary's, this time with Emma beside him and no PR team in sight. They carried a large gift bag and a stack of homemade cards from Emma's class. When they entered room 304, they found Lily sitting up in bed, her mother beside her. Both looked surprised at the unscheduled visit. "Emma?" Lily exclaimed, holding out her arms for a careful hug from her friend. Alexander extended his hand to Lily's mother, a tired-looking woman with the same striking blue eyes as her daughter. "Mr. Reed," she said, clearly flustered. "This is unexpected. Lily didn't mention you were coming today." "She didn't know," Alexander admitted. "I hope we're not intruding." "Not at all," Mrs. Parker assured him, though she looked confused about why the CEO of Reed Enterprises was making personal hospital visits. Emma was already showing Lily the contents of their gift bag: art supplies, modeling clay, and a small stuffed son with a smiling face. "We've been making son drawings too," Emma explained excitedly. "Daddy put them up all over our house, even in his home office." Mrs. Parker raised an eyebrow at Alexander, who felt himself flush slightly. "Your daughter gave me some very good advice," he explained quietly. "About being broken together instead of broken apart. It helped." Understanding dawned in Mrs. Parker's tired eyes. "Lily has a way of getting to the heart of things," she said softly. "Though I'm surprised she remembered that. The doctor said it to me months ago, during a particularly difficult day." "Children notice everything," Alexander quoted with a small smile. "Especially the important things adults try to hide." While the children were occupied with their new art supplies, Alexander turned to Mrs. Parker with a more serious expression. "Mrs. Parker, I understand Lily may be able to go home for Christmas?" She nodded cautiously. "That's the hope. Her latest results are promising, but medical bills don't pay themselves," Alexander finished for her. "And time off work to care for her isn't easy to come by." Mrs. Parker stiffened. "We're managing." "I'm sure you are," Alexander said quickly. "But I'd like to help if you'll let me." "Not charity," he added, seeing her expression. "Emma would never forgive me if anything happened to her friend. And Lily, well, she helped me see something I'd been missing for a long time." He slid a business card across the small table between them. "My personal number is on the back. I've spoken with the hospital administration. Whatever Lily needs, treatments, specialists, home care, it's taken care of. And there's a position at Reed Enterprises that allows for flexible hours and working from home if you're interested." Mrs. Parker stared at the card, then at Alexander, suspicion warring with desperate hope in her expression. "Why would you do this? You don't even know us." Alexander looked over at the two girls, heads bent together over a drawing, Lily's bright smile matching the yellow sun taking shape under her fingers. "Because your daughter reminded me that even broken things can still shine," he said simply. "And sometimes helping someone else find their light helps you rediscover your own." By Christmas Eve, Alexander Reed's home office had undergone a transformation. Where once only charts and business reports had hung, the walls were now covered with dozens of son drawings, some by Emma, some by Alexander himself, and a special few by Lily, who had indeed come home for Christmas as hoped. The Reed home, silent and somber for so long after Sarah's death, rang with the sounds of laughter as Emma helped Lily build her promised snowman in the backyard. Through the window, Alexander watched the two girls at play, marveling at the change in his daughter. The withdrawn, quiet child of the past year had been replaced by a laughing, energetic girl who talked freely about her mother's memory without fear of causing pain. "They look happy," said a voice beside him. Mrs. Parker, Kate as she had asked him to call her, handed him a mug of hot chocolate. "They do," Alexander agreed. "Thank you for bringing Lily over. It means the world to Emma." "It means the world to Lily too," Kate said softly. "And to me. I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done." In the weeks since their hospital meeting, Alexander had made good on his promises. Lily's medical care had been transferred to a top specialist, and Kate had accepted the position at Reed Enterprises, working flexible hours that allowed her to be with her daughter during treatments. The weight of financial worry had lifted from her shoulders, allowing her to focus on what mattered most, her child's recovery. "No thanks necessary," Alexander insisted. "Your daughter gave me back something I thought I'd lost forever." He gestured toward the window, where Emma was carefully helping Lily place a carrot nose on their lopsided snowman. "She helped me see that Emma and I could find joy again, even with the whole Sarah left in our lives." Kate's eyes filled with understanding. "Broken together, not broken apart." "Exactly," Alexander said, his voice thick with emotion. 4 months after Sarah died, I thought the best I could do for Emma was to keep functioning, keep the company running, keep her in her routine, keep moving forward. But I was just going through the motions, not really living. And worse, I was teaching Emma to do the same. "Grief isn't something you can schedule or compartmentalize," Kate observed. "Believe me, I tried after Lily's diagnosis and John's departure." Alexander nodded. "I thought I was protecting Emma by hiding my pain. Instead, I was showing her that her mother's memory was too painful to acknowledge." Outside, Emma had initiated a snowball fight, being carefully gentle with her more fragile friend. Their laughter drifted through the glass. "When did you put up the first sun drawing?" Kate asked, nodding toward the wall of yellow, smiling circles. "The night after I met Lily," Alexander admitted. "I came home and found Emma in her room crying over a photo of Sarah. Instead of my usual chin-up speech, I sat down next to her and cried too. Really cried for the first time with her. We ended up looking through all our family albums, laughing and crying together. Then we drew our first sun picture together." "The first step in being broken together," Kate said softly. "The first of many," Alexander agreed. "It hasn't all been easy. There are still hard days. But now when they come, we face them as a team." The back door burst open, bringing a gust of cold air and 2 pink-cheeked girls. "Daddy, look what we made," Emma exclaimed, holding up her phone to show a photo of their snowman creation. "It's wonderful," Alexander said, genuinely impressed by the crooked but cheerful snow figure. "We named him Sunny," Lily announced, her bright eyes shining above cheeks flushed with cold and excitement. "Perfect name," Kate smiled, helping her daughter remove her wet mittens. "Now, who's ready for hot chocolate with extra marshmallows?" As the girls cheered and raced toward the kitchen, Alexander caught Kate's eye. The understanding that passed between them, two parents who had faced the darkest of times and found their way back to light, needed no words. Later that night, after Lily and Kate had gone home with promises to return for Christmas dinner the next day, Alexander tucked Emma into bed. "Did you have fun today, sweetheart?" he asked, smoothing her hair away from her forehead in a gesture that reminded him painfully of Sarah. "The best day," Emma declared sleepily. "Daddy? Do you think Mom can see our sun drawings from heaven?" A year ago, such a question would have sent Alexander retreating behind emotional walls. Now he sat on the edge of the bed and took his daughter's hand. "I think your mom sees everything you do," he said softly. "And I think she's incredibly proud of the kind, strong girl you're becoming." Emma's eyes, so like her mother's, studied his face. "Are you still sad, Daddy?" Alexander considered the question carefully. "I still miss Mom every day," he said honestly. "And yes, that makes me sad sometimes. But I'm also happy to have you, happy for the time we had with Mom, and happy that we can remember her together." Emma nodded, satisfied. "Broken together, not broken apart," she quoted solemnly. "Like Lily says." "Exactly like Lily says," Alexander agreed, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "That little girl is very wise. That's why she's my best friend," Emma yawned. "Daddy? Can we put a sun drawing on Mom's grave next time we visit? So she knows we're okay?" Alexander felt the familiar sting of tears. But these were different from the bitter tears he had shed alone in his office for so many months. These were healing tears, shared rather than hidden. "I think that's a beautiful idea," he said. "We'll make a special one just for her." As Emma drifted off to sleep, Alexander moved quietly to the doorway. The night light cast a gentle glow over his daughter's peaceful face. For the first time in a year he felt a sense of peace himself. In his pocket, he carried the original drawing Lily had given him, the one of him and Emma, holding hands with a small figure beneath a beaming sun. He had carried it every day since their first meeting, a reminder of the wisdom that had come from the most unexpected source. "Broken things can still shine," Alexander whispered to himself, echoing Lily's words. And for the first time since that rainy night that had shattered his world, Alexander Reed truly believed it. The next morning, Christmas Day dawned bright and clear, sunlight sparkling off the fresh snow outside. Alexander woke before Emma and padded quietly to his home office. Taking a fresh sheet of paper and a yellow crayon, he drew the biggest, brightest sun he could manage. Beneath it, in careful letters, he wrote, "Sarah, we're learning to shine again. Thank you for the light you brought to our lives. We carry it with us always." He was pinning it to the center of the sun wall when Emma appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas. "Is that for Mom?" she asked, coming to stand beside him. "It is," Alexander confirmed, putting his arm around her shoulders. "Merry Christmas, Emma." "Merry Christmas, Daddy," she replied, leaning into his side. Then, looking up at the wall of suns, she added with absolute certainty, "Mom would like this." "I think she would," Alexander agreed, his heart full. "I really think she would." As they stood together, father and daughter, surrounded by paper suns and healing hearts, Alexander thought of the tiny hospital room where a little girl with wise blue eyes had spoken the words that had saved him from his grief. Broken things can still shine. And shine they would, not despite their brokenness but with it, the light finding its way through the cracks to create something beautiful, something new, something whole in its own imperfect way. Outside the doorbell rang. Lily and Kate had arrived for Christmas dinner right on time. New traditions were beginning, even as old memories were honored. "Let's go let them in," Alexander said, giving Emma's shoulder a gentle squeeze. Hand in hand they walked toward the sound, toward friendship, toward the future, broken but no longer apart.